Okay, friends, if you're stuck on number 10, this is where you should be. Make sure you're following along, writing down what I ask you to write down. Don't just watch this entire video and then try to solve the problem. Let's work through this together. So pause the video whenever you need to. Question 10 says, select all of the correlation coefficients that represent a linear model with a weak correlation. So a few things here. We know that a coefficient is a number in front of a variable, and that slope is an example of a coefficient. So pause the video to put this in your notes. Now, we also know that a linear model, which the question uses the words linear model, is just a linear equation that represents a situation or a line. So we're thinking y equals mx plus b. Pause this video and add that to your notes. Once you have it, start the video again. So correlation coefficients show the strength of the relationship between two different variables. So one example of a strong correlation would be if you put more gas in your car is going to be able to drive farther or go longer. Another example of a strong correlation might be the more time you put into working out, the bigger your muscles would be. So correlation can go from -1 all the way to +1. So if we're thinking about strong correlations or two variables that are really closely related, we would want our coefficient to be between these numbers, either 0.7 to 1 or -1 to 0.7. Even though this is negative, this shows a strong correlation. Now, something with a weak correlation would be between two variables that don't really have much to do with each other. So go ahead and put these values in your notes. So an example of two things with a weak correlation might be the number of times I walk my dog and how hot it is outside. Those two things don't really have anything to do with each other. So you should already have these in your notes. Now, the biggest takeaway for you right now is to find the values that have a weak correlation. So if you're answering this question, you want to find any values that are in between this range. So -9.82 is not in between either range. -0.618, it's not in between these numbers. -0.103, that is between these two numbers here. And so is 0.204. It's in between these numbers over here. So you would want to select these two boxes. 0.907 is a strong correlation, and 1 is also a strong correlation. So we're not worrying about those. You'd want to select these two boxes here to answer this question to show that those two values are showing a weak correlation.